Hi everyone, welcome to the next part of my AFI Record Collection. If you haven't seen the first part, I'll link that just below. In this video we're going to cover the next 3 LPs and take us right up to when the band moved on from Nitro Records, but there's a lot of ground to cover and a lot of things that happen in between. LP number 3 is Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes. This comes out and is on Nitro Records, and this also has an LP bonus track. Famously, AFI have done a bunch of covers in their time, including a lot of Misfits ones, and you can find them on different places on the internet and check out different spots. This one, like the Nitro Records, comes out on another muddy colour. This is kind of a grey purple colour. This album is the one that I definitely first became aware about AFI, seeing the 3rd season video online and seeing it on music TV as well. It was amazing to hear a band that were not only punk rock but also had that hardcore edge, and they started employing these like goth, dark overtones, which is what really grabbed me about AFI. For the longest time I'd been listening to The Cure, I'd been listening to the Misfits, and it's not really until this point that I realised that there was new and really exciting modern music that was doing that kind of thing, and it was also embracing that punk rock styling that I could really get behind. There's a Filth cover on this LP as well, and that's really part in fitting with the band's kind of dark aesthetic that's going on with this record. I love the direction that AFI take on each LP, and for Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes, I imagine this is one that they collectively came together to write as a full-length album. It's not something that had many different songs that were written over different time periods. I imagine the writing process was quite together. This one is where they were ending up going out on tour with a bunch of different hardcore bands like Death by Stereo, Sick of It All, and go and see different parts and different things in the world, and it's definitely what started to divide the fans as well. This album brought out the angrier side of the punks, and it alienated some of them as well, and it brought a whole new legion of fans that were warming up to that hardcore sound that was coming out in 1997. I have a lot of AFI shirts, so I thought a good way to show you would be to wear one every time I cut and take. Off the back of this record came out the Afire Inside EP. This 7-inch has been re-released a few times, and it originally came out on AFI Records, which is a label out of the East Bay as well. Famously, one that was really deeply associated with the band Green Day. The original version comes out and has an enlarged hole, and this was so it could be played on jukeboxes, or was traditionally how 7-inches were being released. I have a re-release version that's also on black vinyl, and then a version on yellow vinyl. I believe this was a UK version. This was still on AFI Records, but my copy says made in England, and I'm imagining this was produced for that. The last version that I have is a re-release of this. I spoke before about how AFI and band members and labels would re-release their records, and this is one with an enlarged hole on midnight blue purple vinyl. I think this is definitely the material that really warmed to me the most with AFI. It incorporated exactly what I loved about them. It had a Misfits cover, and it had a Cure cover of The Hanging Garden and Demon Mania. 3.5 and Overexposure showed this really great moving on and transition from Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes and bringing in this incredible aggressive side, but also still keeping that gothic edge with the guitars. So it's really interesting that this is the first release that Hunter Bergen played officially as a bass player. He also recorded the Shut Your Mouth and Open Your Eyes LP, but he was still playing with the band The Force at the time. So it's great to have a first record for Hunter, and I think that side of things was definitely bought in with AFI as well. This still had Mark playing guitar in it, and they hadn't changed guitar players until the next record. The next record is their 4th LP. They've come such a long way at this point. They've had member changes, and they've become quite a big band, certainly for a punk rock band at this point. And their 4th LP is widely regarded as one of their best, and fans, I know a lot of the time, while it is very contentious, will say that this is their favourite LP. This is Black Sails in the Sunset. This is the first record that Jay Puget played on, and it's something that really took AFI sort of in a completely darker direction. Something that really opened them up to a lot of things that was going on around them. The version comes on a green-grey vinyl. It has got that extra vinyl-only song, which is called Lower It. I love the detail on the LP where it says port side and starboard side. My favourite songs on this LP are The Prayer Position and God Called In Sick Today. God Called In Sick Today was a song that when they were playing it, Davey would then walk out into the crowd and do this head walking thing, not like a running, but he'd almost be held up by the crowd. It's also bringing in a new element to AFI's sound where they had this slow burning song that had a deeply melodic parts in there as well, almost bringing an entirely different sound to the band. And that's what, again, a lot of fans really loved and a lot of fans really hated. Definitely divided the band. For me, I really loved it. I love that melodic side of AFI and the way that they can diversify their sound. I think this really speaks volumes of the band about how they can really grow and really develop. So much of the time people love a band that stay what they are. They don't change their sound because they know that they can be reliable. AFI have never really been that band. They've always been growing, they've always been evolving their sound as time goes on. So the next record is All Hallows EP. I think this is widely regarded as one of the band's sort of standout releases. The track Total Immortal was featured on a Tony Hawk's Pro Skating game, and it definitely catapulted the band in a completely different area where people that were just checking out punk rock or hearing things for the first time were warming up to the band. This was released in 1999, the same year that Black Sails in the Sunset came out. Nitro Records released this on orange vinyl and a red coloured vinyl as well. I've never seen the red coloured vinyl, but I have an original orange coloured. This has been signed by all of the band, and this is again a release that has the complete lineup playing on, so Davey Havok, Adam Carson, Jay Puget and Hunter Berger. This has got really iconic artwork. I actually have the pumpkins tattooed on my arm there. This is another record that was re-released, and Nitro Records were responsible for re-releasing this. This 7-inch is a 10-inch, which plays at 45. The 7-inch before played at 33, so obviously you've got a difference in quality of sound. This has also got a Misfits cover on the record, a cover of the song Halloween, which is a really popular, famous Misfits song. They had a release that was for just Halloween with that song on it, and AFI did exactly the same. I know that the timing was kind of coming out at the right point where they just wanted to release these songs, but it came around that it was going to come out in time for Halloween, and that's a really cool way of releasing a record. If you can time it, if you can have vinyl ready for a specific date, it's wonderful. This brings us on to LP number 5. This is probably an entry point for a lot of people for AFI, and I know there's different age groups going on this vinyl community thing, so this is definitely one of the other entry points for me for AFI, where they weren't just a passing thing, there was something that I was able to listen to in a full entirety. I remember exchanging tapes with my friend James at the time, and we would record records of each other's CDs and then swap them around, and I remember getting this record off him and being able to record it on tape. So AFI's 5th LP is The Art of Drowning. The Art of Drowning is one of my favourite AFI records and has some of my favourite AFI songs like Wester and The Nephilim. It's got a vinyl exclusive track called Dream of Waking. This record came out on Nitro Records again, and it's the last LP that Nitro released for them, and it's something that I think that really showed a real departure from an indie label with the crowds that they were pulling in. They were playing Warped Tour, they were playing huge shows, they toured the world, they've been to Europe, they've been to Japan, and they've seen a lot of things. I think that for what Dexter wanted with Nitro Records, it wasn't necessarily the same gothic, punk rock, hardcore rock music that was going to fill up the kind of rooms that AFI were playing. And so I think this is a really, really lovely way of saying goodbye to Nitro Records. While 5 albums in, that's a really hard thing to do, to move on from a label, but I think for bands sometimes it comes to a point where you can't fit on an indie label, you have to depart from that. The last thing I should talk about in this video is actually this box set This was released a little bit later on for Nitro Records, and it comes with some really special editions. So it's a velvet box set that has this amazing like Nephilim back print. The book that comes with this is an LP sized book, and it has images from the band over their career. I was fortunate enough to get to meet AFI and get them to sign my copy of this LP box set, and it was a real privilege to get to talk to the members and interact with them as well. This is something that I know is quite hard to get your hands on, and it's a really lovely way of collecting AFI's albums and doing it in one fell swoop. But that being said, there are lots of reissues and lots of readily available versions of all of their LPs out there, so do check that out. I really hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, check out part 1, where I'll be talking about some of AFI's earlier records. I'll be putting up part 3, and you'll be able to see some of AFI's other records that come after Nitro Records as well.